जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमान अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय। श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatani Sutani. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu abhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So yesterday we discussed the 10th verse of the first chapter of the second canto. Today we will read through 11th to 19th verses and then come to the verse 28.
昨天呢，我们一起学习了第二篇圣典国家法坛第二篇第1章的第10节诗。那今天呢，我们要通读一下从第11节诗到第19节诗，最后到20节诗。
So in the 10th verse, Shukadeva Goswami told Parikshit Maharaj how Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of the entire Vedas, and by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam attentively, one achieves the unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord, who is the giver of all salvation.
在这几节诗里面呢，就是苏哈利口斯瓦米告诉帕尔可西的王，这个为什么圣典国家法坛是所有伟大文献的精华，而且呢，通过有规律的学习圣典国家法坛，人就可以获得坚定不移的为至尊主。
So just by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, we can understand the Supreme Personality of God. We can achieve the ultimate perfection of life. That ultimate perfection of life is liberation from material bondage and developing love, a loving relationship with the Supreme Personality of God.
生命的最完美的阶段，不仅仅是最后从这个物质的捆绑当中解脱出来，而且呢是发展了跟至尊人格守神的一种爱的关系。
So now we'll go to the verse 10. I'm sorry, verse 11.
我们现在读第11节诗。
Etan nirvidyamananam ichchatham aputo bhayam yoginam nripa nirnitam harer namanukirtanam. O King, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord after the ways of great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of all material enjoyment, and also those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. So, by constantly chanting, we can achieve all perfection.
所以通过一直不断的吟诵吟唱，我们就可以真正的得到这个完美的境界。
No matter whatever our condition is, whether we are free from all material desires or we are full of material desires, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, we will achieve the perfection of our existence.
所以，不管我们的状态是什么，是摆脱了一切物质的欲望，还是充满了物质欲望，只要我们一直不断的吟诵吟唱至尊主的圣名，我们就一定能够达到完美的境界。
Even those who are completely satisfied in their heart by dint of their transcendental knowledge, even they derive transcendental benefit by chanting the holy name of the Lord constantly.
就连那些个因为有了超然的知识而内心感到彻底满足的人，也能够通过一直不断的吟诵吟唱至尊主的圣名，最后得到所有的灵性力、超然的力。
So this actually is indicating that there are some processes, some spiritual practices that brings to the point of ultimate spiritual success. Chanting of the holy name is continued even after achieving ultimate perfection.
吟诵吟唱，实际上即使是当人达到了完美境界以后，他也没有停止，他会继续的要这么做下去。
There are the means and there are the goals.
他们这种吟诵吟唱既是方法，同时又是目标。
Means are meant for achieving the goal.
这个方法就是说，是通过这么做，最后达到那个目标。
Generally, when the goal is achieved, then the means are given up.
一般的情况下，当我们达到目标了以后，就会把那个方法就给放弃掉。
Like for example, one practices the process of yoga, but when one achieves the perfection of yoga in samadhi, then he doesn't need to practice yoga anymore.
就比方说，当人就是练瑜伽，整个这个八部瑜伽一步一步的练，到最终达到了那个萨玛迪的那种境界以后，他就把前面所有的程序基本上就放弃掉，不再练。
Or one goes to the university to acquire knowledge, and when he acquires the knowledge, he leaves the university.
或者是当人到大学里面去学习，当他得到了所有的那些知识以后，最后毕业了以后，他就不再去大学学习了。
But devotional service and chanting the holy name of the Lord is not like that.
但是呢，奉爱服务，还有就是说吟诵吟唱至尊主的圣名，却不是这样。
The uniqueness of devotional service is, it is the means as well as it is the goal.
奉爱服务它既是方法，同时又是最终的目标。
By chanting the holy name of the Lord, we achieve spiritual perfection.
通过吟诵吟唱至尊主的圣名，我们就会达到了这个最高的目标。
And after achieving spiritual perfection, one continues to chant the holy name of the Lord and rendering devotional service.
而当人达到了灵性的完美状态以后，他继续的吟诵吟唱至尊主的圣名，继续的做奉爱服务。
So that is the point that has been made here, that the constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord, after the ways of the great authorities, is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of all material enjoyment, and also those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge.
所以在这节诗里就说了，如果我们能够按照伟大的权威所推荐的方式，一直不断的吟诵吟唱至尊主的圣名，它是没有疑问、没有恐惧的成功之路。无论是对那些个充满了物质欲望，还是没有物质欲望，或者是因为具有超然的知识而内心感到彻底满足的人，都是一样的。
All the entire human society can be classified, can be divided into three categories.
这个人类社会的人可以就是说分成三个类型。
Those who are free from material desires,
那些个摆脱了一切物质欲望的人，
those who are full of material desires,
那些充满了物质欲望的人，
and those who have achieved spiritual perfection.
或者那些是达到了那个灵性完美境界的人。
Is there any fourth category?
有没有第四种人呢？
Akamo sarvakamo va mokshakamo udarodhi tibrena bhakti yogena jajeta purusham. So there also, in this verse also, human beings have been divided into these three categories. Akama, one who doesn't have any desire. Sarvakama, one who is full of desires or for material enjoyment. And mokshakama, those who are desirous of liberty. So whatever is your condition, whether you are full of material desires or you are free from material desires, or you are already perfected with your spiritual knowledge.
所以无论是没有物质欲望，还是充满了物质欲望，还是这个内心因为有超然的知识 而感到彻底满足的人，主要是这三种。
What should you do? You must chant the holy name of the
那
Lord.
所有这三种人到底应该做什么呢？就是应该吟诵、吟唱至尊主的圣名，
And never ever give up chanting the holy name of the Lord.
永远都不要放弃吟诵、吟唱至尊主的圣名。
So now we'll go to the next verse, text 12.
现在就是下一个是第12节。
King pramattasya bahubhi padokshir nayoiriha baram muhurtang viditang ghatate shreyase yataha. What is the value of prolonged life which is wasted, inexperienced by years in this world? Better a moment of full consciousness, because that gives one a start in searching after his supreme interest. So, Parikshit Sukdev Goswami now is making one point, that what's the point in having a very long duration of life which is just wasted in all kinds of undesirable activities.
所以在这里，那个舒卡列夫狗斯瓦米他就指出，他说，如果一个人一生当中不断的就是为了满足各种各样的物质欲望而活动的话，像这样的人，他长寿到底有什么意义呢？
It is better to rather live for just one moment of full spiritual consciousness.
倒不如那种哪怕是一瞬间活着，但是却幡然醒悟了，就具有了灵性的这个知识。
Because that will give one the start or lead one to search after his supreme interest.
因为那将使人开始寻求最高的利益。
And what is the supreme interest? The supreme interest is Krishna consciousness.
那至高无上的利益是什么？就是 Krishna 意识。
So that is the intelligent approach to life. Approach to life.
这个才是我们就是说去真正的接近生活的真正的利益。
Really, that point has been made also somewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam, that don't the trees live for many, many years?
在圣典国家法的其他的地方也说，有很多的树可以活得很长时间。
A tree lives for many, many years. In California, there is a redwood tree that is more than 5,000 years old.
那个有的树活的时间非常的长，在加利福尼亚有一棵树，它活了5000多年了。
But what's the point in living like a tree for 5,000 years old?
那么如果像树一样活了5000年，到底有什么意义呢？
Well, 5,000 years ago, Krishna was performing his pastime. But did the tree in California derive any benefit out of Krishna's pastime?
在5000多年前，Krishna显现在地球上。那么在加利福尼亚那棵树，它也活了5000多年，它有没有得到 Krishna 显现的那个利益呢？
So rather, be able to live for a fraction of a moment in Krishna consciousness than for 5, 6, 10,000 years.
所以是比那种像树一样活上5000多年的那样长的寿命，倒不如哪怕活一瞬间，却是充满了 Krishna 意识的那样。
What is the use of a life that is just centered around eating, sleeping, mating, and defending?
如果人生就是以吃、睡、防卫和交配这样去虚度的话，到底有什么意义？
And actually, everyone, all the animals, insects, trees and plants, even most of the human beings, they're just living just for eating, sleeping, mating and defending.
在这个世界里面这个飞禽走兽、虫子等等，甚至绝大多数的人，他们一生就是主要从事的活动就是吃、睡、防卫和交配，就是这些活动。
In the lowest species of life, the life is just annamaya, just for the sake of eating. Where shall I get some food?
我怎么才能够得到一些食物？
And then when the belly is full, then sleep. Where shall I sleep?
好，当他们的肚子饱了以后，就该想了，哦，我要睡觉，我到哪睡觉，该怎么睡。
Then there is a fear. If I am sleeping and if somebody comes and disturbs my sleep, let me defend myself very nicely.
接下来就产生了一种恐惧的心态，说我正在沉睡的时候，如果有人突然来攻击我了，该怎么办？我应该去做一些个防卫的措施。
And then mating, sex life. So the higher one goes, the higher consciousness is, the more advanced is their sex desire. The trees and plants also have their sex life.
Tree also have， 就是树也有性生活。
The flower comes out, then there are male flowers and female flowers.
好，当那个开了花以后，那个花就分成雌雄。
And they're depending when some bee will come and take the male pollens to the female pollens.
那当那个有那个蜜蜂来的时候，就会当它吸那个蜜的时候，就会把那个雄花的那个花粉啊、花蕊里面的东西，就带到那个雌花里面去。
Not actually pollen, like the pollens will be taken to the stigma of the flower.
它就是把那个雄花的那个花粉的花蕊里面的花粉带到那个雌花里面，这样就叫法。
And as a result of that sex life, the fruit comes out.
那这样一种的性生活的结果，就是水果就出来。
And inside the fruit, there is a seed.
那在水果里头呢，有种子。
Which is the process for continuity of their existence.
而这个水果里面的种子，就是这种树木的不断繁衍的结果。
So, in this way, we can see that every living entity is actually living for these four purposes, mainly. Eating, sleeping, mating, something.
所以这样我们就可以看到，所有的物种，它们的生活的主要的活动就是这4项活动，就是吃、睡、防卫和交配。
But the human form of life specially is meant for a higher purpose.
但是人体的生命实际上是为了达到更崇高的目的而有的。
And that purpose is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Now, the goal of life is to inquire about our spiritual identity.
那这个更崇高的目标是什么？经典里就说，现在是询问我们人生的这个目的的时刻到了。
My spiritual identity, what is my actual identity?
要询问我们那个灵性的身份，我真正的灵性身份是什么？
Who am I?
我是谁？
Is this my bodily identity, is my real identity, or am I beyond that?
这个我现在身体里头的我的一个跟身体有关的所有的身份，是真正的我吗？还是我有着其他的身份？
And this way we come to recognize our actual identity as spirit soul.
这样我们就开始认识到自己的真正的身份是灵性的灵魂。
Verse 13 Khattanga nama rajarshi Gyato Gyate aya atva mihayushaha Muhurte sarva musrijya Gatavana bhayam harim. The saintly king Khattanga, after being informed that the duration of his life would be only a moment more, at once freed himself from all material activities and took shelter of the supreme safety, the personality of Godhead. King Khattanga was a very powerful king, and once he was fighting on behalf of the demigods against the demons.
这个卡塔尔王是一个非常强大有力的君王。那有一次呢，他就代表一个半神人在跟恶魔作战。
And he fought very powerfully, very valiantly in the heavenly planets for the demigods. And then after the battle, the demigods were so pleased with him, they asked him, "Tell me what we can do for you."
那他呢，就是在这个天堂星球里头，代表这个半神人跟这个恶魔作战，特别的强大有力，非常的英勇无畏。那等到整个战斗结束了以后，半神人就来问他说：“你想要什么样的祝福？我们能给你什么样的利益？”
They actually wanted to give King Khattanga some benediction for material enjoyment.
那这些半神人呢，实际上想给这个凯湾的王一些个物质的享受的这些利益。
But what did King Khattanga tell them? He simply asked them, "Tell me when I'm going to die."
但是这个凯湾的王他问的什么？他唯一问的问题就是说，我能不能告诉我什么时候会死？
So he was a very intelligent person. So he simply wanted to find out when he would be leaving his body.
所以他是一个非常聪明的人，他唯一要知道的就是他什么时候会离开他这个身体。
And the demigods told him that he had only 44 minutes left.
那这个半神人就告诉，实际上他只剩下这个54分钟的时间就要死了。
So then Khattanga immediately came back to the earth planet and he finished all his material businesses. He was a king, so he made his son, he said that, okay, my son will become the successor to my throne, and he prepared for death.
那这位君王一听到自己就还有这么短的时间就死了，马上从天堂星球就下到地球上，把自己的那个王国里头的事务全部处理好，然后让他的这个儿子继承他的王位，自己呢就开始准备死亡，为死亡做准备。
So I'll just read this part. This means that he was not anxious to accumulate some material benediction from the demigods as he was to prepare himself for the next life. Can you? It's in the middle of the purport.
那这个就是这个意思是什么呢？他的意思就是他在为来生做准备，因为他并不渴望从半神人那里得到物质的祝福。
However, he was informed by the demigods, however, that his life would last only a moment longer.
半神人呢就告诉君王，他的这个寿命只剩下片刻的功夫了。
A moment means 44 minutes.
这个片刻的意思就是44分钟。
No, I'm sorry, not 44 minutes. 48 multiplied by 96 minutes. 96.
那片刻的意思就是96分钟。
Muhurta, like Brahma Muhurta. You know Brahma Muhurta?
Brahma
Muhurta. He was informed that he has only one Muhurta left.
所以他就被告知他只有一个Muhurta的时间，这个Muhurta的时间就是96分钟。
He had 96 minutes, about 1.5 hours left.
也就是1个半小时的时间。
So the king at once left the heavenly kingdom, which is always full of material enjoyment of the highest standard, and coming down to this earth, took ultimate shelter of the all-safe personality of God.
这个君王一听到这个消息，立刻离开这个始终充满着高水平的物质享乐的天堂王国，下到这个地球来，求取唯一能给人以全面保护的至尊人格守成的最终庇护。
The higher planetary systems are full of material enjoyment.
在这个高等的天堂星球上是充满了各种各样的物质享乐。
Therefore, one cannot get out of this material nature from the higher planetary system.
因此呢，就是说，从这个高等星球上，人不可能就是最终能够摆脱整个物质世界。
To get out of the material nature, one has to come to the earth planet.
要想真正的摆脱物质的这个世界，必须要到地球上来。
The universe is like a 14-story building. 14-story building.
那整个的这个宇宙实际上就像一个14层楼的这样一个高楼一样。
Those out of those 14 stories, 7 are above ground and 7 are underground.
那在这个14层楼的这样一个大厦里头，有7层是属于高层的这种星球，有7层是属于地面上，有7层是地面下。
Now, if you want to go out of the house, go out of the building, how will you go out?
那如果我们要走出这个大厦的话，我们应该怎么走出去？
Can you go out of the building from the 7th floor?
我们能够从这个7层楼高的地方走出这个大厦吗？
Yeah, if you have a helicopter, you can.
如果能飞的话就可以。
If you have a
直
helicopter.
升机就可以。
Yeah. But normally, if you want to go out of the building, what do you have to do? You have to come to the ground floor.
所以一般的情况，没有直升飞机的情况下，我们要想走出大厦，我们就必须从7层楼上走到这个底层1楼。
So the ground floor of the universe is the earth planet.
而这个宇宙里面的1层楼就是地球。
And therefore, and especially in the earth planet, when you get a human form of life, that means you are all set to get out of this universe.
而在这个物质世界里面，在这个地球上有这个人体生命，而这个人体生命具备了所有摆脱物质世界的方便条件。
But you have to first of all know where to go to.
但是你首先知道你要上哪去。
Then only becomes the question of getting out of the building.
一开始呢，就是说，OK，先离开这个大厦。
Those who do not know where to go, they simply go either up or down, up and down.
那个一般不知道到底该上哪去的人，他就会一直在这个宇宙的大厦里面上上下下、上上下下走楼梯。
But those who have the opportunity and the facility, they know how to get out of this universe, get out of this material nature, and then go to the spiritual world.
那些个就是很幸运的，有了知识，知道应该去什么地方，应该怎么去的人，他就可以从这个地球的这个1楼就能够走出这个宇宙的物质世界的大厦，然后呢，到灵性的天空去。
Jai Shri Krishna Balaram Ki Jai, Jai Shri Radha Madan Mohan Lalita Vishakha Devi Ki, Shri Gaur Nitai Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki. So this king, wasn't he very intelligent?
这个君王是不是很聪明啊？
And what was his name?
他的名字叫什么？
King Khattanga. Now we go to the text 14.
好，我们现在读第14节诗。
Tavapetarhi kauravya saptaham jivitavadhi upakalpayo tat sarvam tavadat sampagraikam. Maharaj Parikshit, now your duration of life is limited to 7 more days. So during this time, you can perform all those rituals which are needed for the best purpose of your next life.
译文：马哈拉帕尔克西，你的寿命现在只剩7天了，你可以在这段时间内举行那些最有利于你来生的仪式。
So, Sukadeva Goswami reminded Parikshit Maharaj that you have only 7 days left.
所以在这里，舒格ದೇವ Goswami在提醒帕尔可西的王说：“你现在只剩下7天了。”
So prepare yourself for the next life.
所以你应该为你的来生做准备。
Do whatever is necessary to make your next life perfect.
你应该为了你的来生达到完美而做所需要做的一切。
Go to text 15. Antakale tu purusha agate gata sadhasaha chinda dashanga shastrena sprihang dehe nuye chatam. At the last stage of one's life, one should be bold enough not to be afraid of death. But one must cut off all attachments to the material body and everything pertaining to it and all desires thereof.
译文：在人生的最后阶段，人应该勇敢无畏，不怕死亡。但是，人必须斩断对物质躯体的一切依恋，断绝与它相关的一切，终止因它而产生的各种欲望。
So what should we try to do at the last stage of our life?
所以在我们人生的最后阶段，我们应该做什么呢？
Call the best doctor. Call the best doctor.
是去找那个最好的医生来吗？
Try to get admission in the best hospital.
是试着在这个最好的医院里头找到最好的医疗条件呢？
And try to prolong our lifespan.
是试图延长我们的生命吗？
No.
不是。
We should be prepared. We should know when the time has come to leave the body. We should prepare ourselves to face death properly.
当这个死亡的时候要到来的时候，我们应该知道，这个时候不是做那些个调整，而是应该好好的做准备，让我们能够很好的面对死亡。
At that time, one should not be afraid of dying.
在死亡的时刻，人不应该惧怕死亡。
Rather, he should remember that now the time has come to free myself from this material bondage.
而应该是什么呢？是应该记住现在这个时刻到了，我应该利用这个时刻把自己这个摆脱出物质的束缚当中。
It is difficult to free ourselves from material bondage when a body is healthy and strong.
当这个身体特别的健康而且强有力的时候，说要让自己摆脱物质的束缚是非常困难的。
When the body is healthy and strong, then we like to eat, we like to breathe nicely, we like to. That time, the soul is very closely attached to the body.
当我们的身体非常健康、非常强壮的时候，我们想要很好的吃，想要很好的呼吸，在这个身体里面的那个灵魂特别的依恋那个身体。
Especially when the body is young, the soul's attachment to the body is very strong.
特别是当这个身体是在一种很年轻的阶段的时候，那个灵魂就特别的依恋那个身体。
Good health actually means soul is very nicely situated in the body.
那个身体健康意味着那个灵魂在身体里面住的是非常舒服的一种状态。
So when the soul is very nicely situated in the body, it is difficult to free ourselves from the material attachment.
所以当灵魂很舒舒服服的坐在身体里头的时候，他当然就很困难，说要把自己摆脱掉这种物质的束缚的状态。
But by nature's arrangement, we are going to become old.
但是呢，在大自然的安排下，我们不得不最后就是要变老。
We will become diseased.
我们也会生病。
So these are actually the nature's arrangement to free the soul from its attachment to the body.
实际上，这是大自然的安排，通过这样的安排，让灵魂慢慢的就开始不再执着于它的物质躯体。
And a person situated in knowledge should welcome that.
而具有知识的人，处在知识层面上的人，应该非常欢迎这样的处境。
He will not see that, oh, I am getting old. He will rather see that, oh, now the soul is becoming free from the attachment of the body.
那当别人老了的时候，就会觉得很难过；但是有知识人就觉得，这个是一个机会，让我逐渐的不再依恋这个物质躯体了。
He should not think, now I have become diseased. He should think, oh, it's nature is making me, helping me to become free from the attachment to the body.
当然，生病了的时候，我们应该想，大自然在就是安排我，让我逐渐不再依恋物质身体，能够摆脱出物质自然。
Then the time comes for the soul now ready to leave the body.
好，那当死亡到来的时候，那么对于灵魂来说，就是 OK， 已经准备好了，我应该离开身体了。
So he should take this as a golden opportunity to free himself from the attachment of the material nature.
所以人应该把这种疾病啊、变老啊，都应该当作是一种机会，使得自己不再依恋物质的躯体，而能够摆脱物质自然的束缚的机会。
And then what should he do at that time? When the soul is about to leave the body, he is now free from the material attachment, he is free to go now. But the question is, where will he go?
所以说，当我们面对死亡的时候，那个时候就是说，他应该是摆脱了那个空纳物质自然三种属性，他摆脱了物质自然。这个时候，灵魂就应该知道，我要走了，但是我应该到什么地方去。
That he will have to decide at that time where he will go.
在那个时刻，我们就应该决定了，我们应该到什么地方去。
That time, he will have to decide whether he should remain attached to the material nature or he will go back to Godhead.
那个时候，他就要决定说，我是应该继续的依恋这个物质自然呢，还是应该回到守神身边去？
And if he can think of Krishna at that time, if he can think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead at that time, he will go back to the spiritual.
那么在那个死亡的时刻，如果他能想起至尊人格守神 Krishna 的话，他自然就回到 Krishna 身边。
And this training we are getting from the scriptures.
而整个的这个训练的过程，我们就是从这个经典里面得到这种知识。
Sukadeva Goswami is telling Parikshit Maharaj that remember the incidents of Khattanga. He could have asked the demigods at that time, oh, give me a duration of life for 20,000 years.
所以这个说这个狗斯瓦米，他就在这里就是提醒那个帕尔可西王说，你一定要记住那个卡湾的王他的例子，他在那个时候他并没有要求这个半神人说再让我活上个1万多少年。
And the demigods could have given him that benediction. They all had to say, granted.
那个时候实际上，如果他这么要求的话，半神人就会给他这样的祝福，说所有的半神人对他都很满意，就会说 OK， 就这样让你延长寿命。
But Khattanga didn't want to take any such benediction.
但是呢，卡当的王他不想得到这样的祝福。
He simply asked, "Tell me how much time do I have left?"
他唯一就是问的问题就是说，告诉我还有多长时间我能活。
And they told him just one muhurta.
而他们告诉他说，只剩下一瞬间了。
And Khattanga did not wait. He said, "Thank you very much."
卡当王他当时没有停留片刻，相反他对半人说：“谢谢你大家，马上就跑到地球去了。”
He immediately came to the Earth planet because this is the perfect place, as I told you earlier, to get out of this material.
他之所以立刻跑到地球上去，是因为他知道，就像刚才我告诉大家的，这个地球是一个完美的离开物质自然的、摆脱物质自然的地方。
And what must he have done at that time? He fixed his mind at the lotus feet of Krishna.
而他在那个时刻，他做的是什么呢？他是把自己的心念完全集中在至尊人格守神 Krishna 的莲花足上。
Now we go to the next verse, text 16.
我们来读下一节诗，第16节诗。
Grihat prabrojito dhira punnatirtha jalaplutaha shucho vivikta ashino vidhivat kalpitashane. One should leave home and practice self-control. In a sacred place, he should bathe regularly and sit down in a lonely place, duly sanctified.
译文：人应该离开家练习自治，应该在神圣的地方有规律的沐浴，在已被适当圣化了的天境之处坐下。
Text 17.
第17章，第17节。
Abhyasen manasa shuddham tribridha jhaksharam param mano jache jita shasho brahma bijam abhishmaran. After sitting in the above manner, making the mind remember the three transcendental letters A, U, Ma, and by regulating the breathing process, control the mind so as to forget the transcendental seed.
译文：按上述方式坐下后，要在心中记住3个超然的字母 A、U、Ma，然后借助调整呼吸的程序，控制住心念，以便不忘超然的种子。
Text 18. Gradual, Niyached Vishaya Bhokshan Manasha Buddhi Sarathi Mano Karma Bhirakshiptam Subharte Dharayathiya. Gradually, as the mind becomes progressively spiritualized, withdraw it from sense activities, and by intelligence the senses will be controlled. The mind, too absorbed in material activities, can be engaged in the service of the personality of Godhead and become fixed in full transcendental consciousness.
译文：逐渐的，随着心念越来越灵性化，注意力便从感官活动上撤回。这时，运用智力就可以控制住感官了。沉溺于物质活动的心，如果用来为人格首饰服务，就会变得专注于完美的超然意识。
So, Sukadeva Goswami is advising Parikshit Maharaj about the process of yoga system.
在这里呢，舒格দেব狗斯瓦米就在告诉帕尔可西的王有关瑜伽的整个程序。
This Ashtanga yoga system involves going to a solitary place.
这个8步瑜伽的程序就是先要到一个僻静的一个圣地去。
And practicing to free the mind from the attachment of matter.
而且呢，就开始练习把自己的心开始摆脱掉这种对物质感官享乐的执着上。
And this process has a very elaborate sense controlling aspect.
那这个整个的这个程序，实际上对于那种控制感官，是特别注重、特别强调的。
So the first and foremost consideration is actually to withdraw the senses from the objects of the senses.
所以，首先的那个要考虑的就是要把整个的注意力从感官活动上要撤回来。
Or withdraw it from sense activities.
或者是把那个感官享乐、感官活动上要撤回来。
Now it's a very difficult task, very difficult job.
那这个是非常非常困难的一件事情，要控制感官的活动、感官享乐是很困难的。
Those days, people are very, very powerful, and that's why they could indulge in such difficult act.
在过去的年代里面，人们是非常强大有力的，因此呢，就被授予了这样的一种灵修的方法。
But because in this age people have become very weak, that process is not valid anymore.
那由于在我们这个年代里面的人是非常非常虚弱的，因此像8步瑜伽的这样的方式，我们练不了。
That process is not effective anymore.
这个8步瑜伽的程序对我们来说已经不起作用了。
Like as you can see, how many people can go to a solitary place and live all by himself?
我们现在可以看到有多少人可以到一个非常僻静的地方去，独自一个人的去住。
But that is the first requirement of yoga system.
但是这个是瑜伽整个的程序里面的第一个要做的、第一件要做的事情。
That one has to go to a solitary place, like on top of a mountain or to a deep dense forest.
就是像那种特别僻静的地方，是人要么要到就是高山的顶上去，要么就是要到森林的深处去住。
And they withdraw the mind from the senses.
然后接下来呢，是把整个的注意力从感官上撤回。
That is why they actually have to go to a solitary place, because otherwise it's not possible to free the mind from the senses. By intelligence, the senses should be controlled.
那我们要通过那个智力，最后控制住感官。
And the mind should be freed by engaging it in the service of the Lord.
而那个心呢，应该让它摆脱物质活动，让这个心只用来为人格守神做服务。
And then only it can be fixed in full transcendental consciousness.
人只有这么做，才能够变得专注于完美的超然意识。
The next verse, text 19.
第19节诗。
Tatraika vayavang dhayet abhuchinnena chetasa mano nirvishayam yukta tato kinchana nasmaret padam tat paramam vishnu manojatra prashitati. Thereafter, you should meditate upon the limbs of Vishnu, one after another, without being deviated from the conception of the complete body. Thus the mind becomes free from all sense objects. There should be no other things to be thought upon, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, is the ultimate truth. The mind becomes completely reconciled in Him only.
译文之后，你应该在不忘记威势路的整体形象的情况下，逐一冥想威势路的四肢，这样人就会不再想任何物质的对象。至尊人格守神威势路是最高真理，因此只有全神贯注于它，才能感到心满意足。
So he is giving the instruction how to fix the mind on the transcendental nature.
在这里呢，就是在教导君王说，怎么样把注意力集中在超然的这个自然上。
And he is saying that at that time the mind should be fixed on the limbs of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should fix the mind at the limbs of the Lord one after another.
人应该逐一的去把注意力逐一的集中在至尊人格守神的自知上，一个一个的去集中。
Without being deviated from the concept of complete body of the Lord.
而且呢是不要把整个的，比方至尊主的整个的身体形象把它给忘掉。
The way to meditate upon the Lord is first at His lotus feet.
那冥想至尊主的方法是，首先冥想至尊主的莲花。
Then gradually, one's consciousness should go to the higher and higher limbs of his body.
然后逐渐的让自己的意识逐渐往上转移到他的不同的四肢上。
From the feet to his legs.
从莲花足到他的腿。
Then to his thighs.
然后到他的这个臀部大腿。
Then to his waist.
然后到腰部。
His abdomen.
他的腹部。
His chest.
他的胸部。
His arms.
他的手臂。
His neck.
他的颈部。
His lotus face.
然后他的莲花脸。
And in this way one should meditate upon the Lord.
所以这个就是人应该冥想至尊主的方法。
And one should be very, very conscious that his meditation is not broken by any other thought.
而人应该这个时候要特别的注意，任何其他的念头 都不应该把人的注意力从至尊主的身上移开。
Not like meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord, and then all of a sudden we start thinking about the Vietnam War.
不是说我们正在把注意力集中在至尊主的莲花图上的时候，突然一下就开始想到那个越南战争，
or the war in Iraq,
或者是伊拉克的战争，
terrorists in Pakistan,
那个巴基斯坦的那个恐怖分子，
or the big industrial fair in Beijing,
那个北京的那个很大的一个，他说北京的贸易会应该是广州贸易会。
So that is what happens normally. Our mind doesn't have the ability to be fixed on one point.
这个就是我们的问题，我们的心念永远都不能够专注在一点上。
Our mind tends to move constantly.
我们的心念是一直不断的在千变万化的。
Therefore, the mind has been described as chanchal, constantly moving. Chalati iti chanchala.
所以呢，这个就经典里就描述说，我们的心就是多变，非常的多变，从一个地方转到另外一个地方。
The mind is always flickering, always drifting.
这个心念一直就是变来变去，变来变去。
But one must fix his consciousness at the limbs of the Lord, his body, his transcendental body, because he is the ultimate shelter, the truth.
那么至尊主呢，他是最高的这种庇护，绝对的真理。因此，人实际上应该训练自己，把这个心念、把注意力集中在至尊主的整个的身体上，集中在他的四肢上。
Now, I mentioned earlier that in this age, we do not actually have the ability to fix our mind in this way in the process of meditation or yoga.
那刚才呢，我就是提到过了，在我们现在这个年代里面，由于人非常的虚弱，因此我们根本就没有能力把我们的注意力以这样的方式去影响至尊主。
Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has given us a very simple process for achieving spiritual perfection.
我们练这个瑜伽是不可能的，正因为如此呢，至尊人格守神非常仁慈的给了我们在这个年代里头可以让我们达到完美的方法。
And that process is to chant the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare。那这个完美的程序就是一直不断的吟诵吟唱 Hare Krishna Mahamantra。
So that Mahamantra, just chanting the Mahamantra, we can achieve the ultimate spiritual perfection.
而通过一直不断的吟诵这个 Hare Krishna Mahamantra， 我们就能够达到最高的完美境界。
We won't have to go to a dense forest or a mountain cave.
我们不需要到森林的深处去，或者到山洞里去。
We won't have to try to free the mind from the attachment of the senses.
我们也不需要为了让这个心念不再执着于物质活动而做格外的努力。
We do not have to undergo any of these difficult tasks.
我们不需要去经历所有这些个特别艰难的那些个方式。
We simply have to utter the holy name of the Lord through our tongue.
我们唯一需要做的就是利用我们的舌头发出有关至尊主的圣名。
And if we can do that at the time of death, at the time of leaving the body,
如果我们能够在死亡的时候到来时，如果我们能够在我们离开身体的那个时刻这么做的话，
then the Lord will personally come to take us back to God.
那么至尊主就会亲自到来，把我们带回他的身边。
And just in case we forget to chant, it is important that we make sure that the devotees are there when we are leaving our body. If we forget to chant, then the devotees will remind us to chant.
因为那个时候，如果我们忘了吟诵吟唱的话，其他的奉献者围绕在我们身边的奉献者就会提醒我们吟诵吟唱。
And they will not only remind us to chant, they themselves will chant for us.
好，他们不仅会提醒我们吟诵吟唱，他们自己就会为我们吟诵吟唱这部圣名。
And the Lord will come.
那施主就会到来。
Therefore, it is very important to remain in the association of devotees all the time.
这就是为什么，就是一直不断的跟奉献者交往联谊是那么的重要。
Because then the devotees will help us to achieve our ultimate destination.
因为奉献者会帮助我们最终达到生命的完美境界。
Hare Krishna. So today I couldn't also go to today's verse, so we'll do the verse tomorrow.
今天没有读第二首，明天我们会读第二首。
Does anybody have any question?
大家有什么问题吗？
Attachment from the material body,
The first
disease, and old age.
disease and
Many pledges for detachment from the material body.
Yeah.
So should we voluntarily practice neglect of the health?
Good point.
那个艾克莎的法官问马马尔一个问题说，你刚才提到这个年老还有疾病可以帮助我们，就是变得不再执着于我们这个物质身体。那是不是这个意思？就是说我们自觉自愿的，就是要这么做，然后我们忽视我们的身体健康的问题？那马马尔说是一个很好的。
When we have service to render, we must make it a point to keep our body healthy and fit. Therefore, devotees must take care of their health first.
因此呢，奉献者首先要注意身体的健康。
But by nature's arrangement, you see, the body will become old.
但是在大自然的安排下，我们看到身体不管怎么样都会变老。
And when that time comes, when the body becomes, when nature's arrangement becomes old and becomes diseased, then no matter how much you try to take care, you won't be able to take care. Then we have to realize the call is coming from there.
那个时候我们就要意识到，真正我们的人生目标是什么。
And we should take it as an indication of a warning.
我们就应该把这样的一种状况当作是对我们的警告。
And prepare ourselves.
然后呢，就应该好好的为死亡好好做准备。
That also reminds me, actually Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentioned that the first aspect that about rendering devotional service to maintain a healthy body. So the body is a machine, and when this machine has to perform, we have to keep the machine fit.
因为我们这个身体就像一架机器一样，当我们这个机器我们要让它正常运作的话，我们就要维护它。
他在天主教的部分，他们有圣经。那我们现在就是在传播Krishna的圣灵，那怎么样他们才能够知道念诵Hare Krishna是最重要的
？Something like that, So now we teach people chant Hare Krishna mantra. How do we do? Can let people know that the chant Hare Krishna is most important thing.
How to make them understand chanting Hare Krishna?
Yeah, because we all have a chanting process.
Yeah, you see, while we are chanting mantra, we must understand that what is the meaning of that mantra. That understanding that meaning is very important, because from that we understand who are we approaching. Now, if the mantra is indicating the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then it is all right.
那如果那个 mantra 它最后是要让我们接近的是至尊人格守神的话，那就对了。
But even then, we have to also consider what the mantra which aspect of the Supreme Personality of Godhead the mantra is indicating. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is actually indicating the highest aspect of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
而 Hare Krishna Mahamantra 它所代表的是至尊人格守神的最高的那个方面。
His all attractive aspect
是指的它的最具有魅力、绝对有魅力的那一部分。
His all enjoying aspect
它的绝对这个喜乐的那一部分。
And his all merciful aspect.
而且呢，是它的绝对的仁慈的那一部分。
So that's why the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is considered to be the greatest of all mantras. Because not only does it take us to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but it actually reveals his most exalted spiritual aspect.
这个 mantra 就是说，不仅把我们能够带回到至尊人格的至尊人格守神的升天，而且呢。
All right.
Maharaj, you mentioned how old age is an impetus to prepare oneself for death.
Old age and?
Is an impetus. Old age
is an impetus, okay.
So, in some cases, someone may die accidentally, even devotees. It is said that when one meets with an accidental death, one has to remain as a ghost. So, if someone is a devotee, what happens in that stage when one accidentally dies for different levels of devotees?
You see, that's why it has been advised that one should always remember the Supreme Personality of God. Because we do not know when death will come.
因为我们不知道死亡到底什么时候到来。
Therefore, we should prepare ourselves all the time.
因此，我们应该随时随刻地准备自己。
We should be ready. We should be prepared. Whenever death comes, okay, I'm ready to go.
我们应该随时准备好，所以无论这个死亡什么时候到来，我们就结果。
Actually, devotees like Parikshit Maharaj is very fortunate that they got to know when they were going to die. Khattanga, he got the benediction actually from the demigod. He got to know when he was going to die. But that's not the case with us. We can't actually say when death will come. Therefore, we should be prepared all the time.
但是我们却不知道什么时候会死，因此我们应该随时随地地做准备。
And accidental death means all of a sudden the occasion comes to leave the body.
这种突发事件的这种死亡，就是说突然间发生什么事 ，OK， 我们就灵魂就要离开这个身体。
Generally, when one leaves his body accidentally like that, then one becomes a ghost.
一般的情况下，人在突发事件的时候，突然间就被迫离开身体的话，那他就会变成鬼魂。
But a devotee who has taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whether he leaves his body accidentally or after prolonged disease and things, because he has taken shelter of the Lord, he is transcendentally situated. For a devotee who has taken shelter of the Lord, there is no question of becoming a ghost.
对于这些个脱避于至尊人格守神的奉献者来说，不存在变成鬼魂的问题。
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is all merciful.
至尊人格守神是绝对仁慈的。
And especially his Bhakta Vatsal, he is the protector and maintainer of his devotees.
尤其是经典上说他是巴卡巴萨，意思就是说他是奉献者的保护者和维护者。
So one who has taken shelter of him, the Lord and offered everything to him, taken shelter and surrendered himself completely to him, is the Lord so ungrateful that he will forget all that he has done for him and tell him, okay, now you are on your own because you had an accidental death?
那因此呢，由于这个至尊主的奉献者完全脱避于至尊主的保护一直不断的就是努力的为他做服务，所以至尊主就对奉献者是那么的高兴，因此无论是什么情况下要死亡的话，至尊主就会让他在一种超然的状态当中。
So the answer to your question is, one who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, he will be protected by the Lord under all circumstances. Hare Krishna. Yes.
When one has an accident and is in a coma, what is happening to the soul at that state that the person is in a coma?
当人就是遇到那个比方车祸等等这些情况的时候。
Well, for a mundane person, for a materialistic person, it is a situation when Jamraj is having difficulty to figure out where he should take him. Piety and sin are so well balanced that Jamraj is figuring out whether to send him to heaven or to send him to hell. And another situation of coma is that there is a tug of war between the Yamadutas and the doctors.
另外一个就是在人昏迷的状态下的时候，特别是对于世俗的那个物质主义者来说，活在人间。
And Yamadutas are trying to pull him out.
那个阎罗王呢是努力的要把他给阎罗王的使者就要把他给拉走。
But for a devotee who is in a coma, we have to understand that Krishna is actually making him go through certain experiences internally to prepare himself to go back to his next destination. Yeah. No, yeah.
我有个问题，就是最近发生的事情，就自己的父母，我们知道皈依 Krishna 是很重要的，而且就是我看了讲跟他讲，他们也是经历过这个问题，就是全身心的奉献自己之后，可能会面临更大的一些挑战。比如说我家人对我非常的不谅解，就觉得就是说，就好像做了奉爱服务之后，当了Krishna奉献者之后，就可能在经济全心全意的在传教上，可能没有办法在经济上有很独立的一个丰厚的一个条件，可以就是照顾他们的后半辈子。那甚至他们觉得就是说，我接触了这个宗教之后，可能以后自己，甚至他们没有办法去养育他们。那甚至他们觉得就是说，Krishna 是另外的一个宗教。那
Chinese culture that actually
Yeah.
culture same thing. You have to
Take care of
take
your...
care of your parents. Yeah.
Okay, very good, very good.
And then his parents said, if you continue to follow Krishna, you better don't come home again.
What's the last one?
If you continue to follow your Krishna, better don't come home again.
Okay. You see, to be a devotee means responsible. To take care of your parents, and when they are in need of your help, not to take care of them is not right.
如果你的家人需要你去照顾他们的话，你有这样的责任的话，那如果你不去照顾，这样就不对了。
It is not that if you become a Hare Krishna, you have to give up your job and become a useless bomb. Rather,
流浪汉，流浪汉。
rather, you do your duty nicely, and at the same time you chant the holy name of the Lord.
相反，你应该很好的履行你的职责，同时呢，很好的读诵一场阿尔卑少的曼茶。
And the Oriental culture is actually, the Oriental culture demands that the children should take care of their parents.
其实东方的这种传统文化就是它强调孩子应该孝顺父母。
So take care of your parents very nicely, So that your parents will say that I am so proud that my son has become a Hare Krishna. Okay? So don't neglect your duty.
所以千万不要放弃该履行的职责。
And do your duty properly. And you're working now.
那就应该就是很好的履行你的职责，努力的工作。
Especially, I mean, you're a householder. Is he a householder? Oh, he is.
No.
Yeah, at least since he has parents who need his support, give the support to your parents.
他说，如果你的父母需要你的经济支持的话，你应该去给他们。
Okay. Because you see, we have to be very sensitive how we behave, especially in Taiwan, Vietnam, and we should act in such a way that people will become favorable towards us, not they will become antagonistic.
所以他说，我们应该特别的小心，就是我们的行为到底是怎么样，特别是在台湾这样的一种文化当中，你应该最后通过你的行为举止，让人们对 Krishna 意识。
Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande.